Congressman Jim Himes joins me now. He is the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, I want to get your reaction to all this in a moment, but first we have this breaking news. A former FBI informant charged with lying to the FBI, those claims he made about President Biden and Hunter Biden's involvement with the Ukrainian company Burisma. The man, Alexander Smirnov, he's been rather pivotal to the allegations from the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, not to mention numerous Fox primetime hosts, that there was evidence that Biden benefited to the tune of millions of dollars from Hunter Biden's business dealings. What's your reaction to this allegation, or rather this indictment?
Well, Jake, I'm not at all surprised. I mean, whatever my Republican friends build impeachment inquiries on, or whatever they build this sort of edifice of MAGA outrage on, eventually turns out not to be true, including, as you pointed out, the whole underpinning of the president should be impeached thing turns out to be, largely resting on lies. Now, I wish I could say that that's going to make a real difference here, because what we know is that you can impeach somebody without any crimes, without any misdemeanors, right? Because we just saw the impeachment of Secretary Mayorkas. Maybe my Republican friends don't like the way he's doing his job, but they, failed in that impeachment to come up with a single example of a high crime or misdemeanor. So, yes, shocking, but not at all surprising, and I don't think it'll change the narrative around here.
Let's turn to what was shocking breaking news yesterday, and that has to do with what Chairman Turner put out, that message. The National Security Advisor at the White House, Jake Sullivan, said that you were supposed to get a briefing on this supposed threat today. I understand you can't talk about classified information, but what can you tell us about what you learned about this threat at today's briefing?
Yeah, so as you just said, the briefing happened. We were joined by the National Security Advisor and the Director of National Intelligence, and we heard a lot of what we already knew about the nature of this threat. And you heard Kirby describe it as an anti-satellite weapon. You heard him say something that I was saying yesterday, which is it is not an immediate threat to the American people. It is, like any number of threats that we learned about on the Intelligence Committee, something that we need to be thoughtful about, address, work through. I'm sorry that it created a massive sort of feeding frenzy and a panic yesterday. But what we learned in the meeting today was that this is something that they have known about for a long time. They've got a number of strategies to deal with it, and hopefully this doesn't become the norm for how we how we deal with threats on the Intelligence Committee.
I don't want to speak for you, but it does seem to me like you and Chairman Turner have a good relationship, have a good working relationship. He does seem to be a smart and serious person. What was the deal with that press release yesterday, with that statement?
Yeah, and you're right. The committee and people who follow Washington will know this. Prior to Mike Turner becoming chairman, prior to me becoming ranking member, it had been brutally split by an awful lot of the Trump-related stuff. And so we really dedicated ourselves to working together in a bipartisan way. And I think we have a really functional committee right now. So, I'm not going to second guess what the chairman was, what his intentions were, what he was trying to do. I wish the communications, put it this way, had been a lot more private than they were. It's not unusual, Jake, for, by the way, the committee to vote to make information available to members of Congress, but we usually do that pretty quietly. But you're absolutely right. Look, I think from now we can move on and hopefully not cause panics in future.
All right, Democratic Congressman Jim Himes, ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.